इस तक सीमित रहेगी राजनीति.
And care for the people. These two mantras will guide technological transformation of the world in the 21st century. Sorry for such a long answer, but Anjali, I am passionate about this. I don't know if you could get most of it.
It is such an exciting vision. And indeed, your passion absolutely comes through. So let me build on that a little bit. In fact, I was going there next on if data is the new oil, and you have often said data is the new oil, then digital infrastructure is actually the new pipeline. And for us to put a people first, planet first world, a lot of the global growth will depend on nations building and leveraging that infrastructure so that they're able to provide better, faster, more cost-effective services to citizens in a way that minimizes the physical and indeed the planetary environmental footprint. India has led the way. I think India has actually been an immense innovator in creating public digital goods. We started with Aadhaar. We have 1.3 billion people with a unique biometric ID. We have the ability through the Jan Dhan accounts to actually reach people at the last mile. UPI, as you rightly mentioned, sir, has enabled the average person to transact with each other without using physical currency. And now, of course, we are going into the realm of the open networks for digital commerce, which is the UPI for e-commerce, the National Digital Health Unique ID, and so on. As a passionate business leader in this process of transition, where you and your company have played such a seminal role, could you share your views and vision for this next generation of digital infrastructure, where we are minimizing the planetary footprint while maximizing generation of digital infrastructure, where we are minimizing the planetary footprint while maximizing the gain to people?
So Anjali, data is indeed the new oil, but this new oil is fundamentally different from traditional oil. Traditional oil was extracted at select places. Thus, it created wealth only for a few countries. In contrast, the new oil, that is data, can be generated and consumed everywhere and by everybody. It has the potential to create value equitably across sectors, across geographies, and across economic classes. Every person can be a user, creator, and owner of data. Therefore, the new oil has been completely democratized and decentralized. And here, India has a unique advantage: demography. We are a nation of 1.35 billion people and will soon become the world's most populous nation, overtaking China, and also the world's youngest nation. Our second major strength is that India has built the digital pipeline, a world-class digital infrastructure that has reached all our cities, towns, and almost all our 600,000 villages, again, thanks to Prime Minister Modi's Digital India vision. A person in the remotest village can today learn from the latest developments from around the world, consult and collaborate with people across continents, and share her views or his views on global platforms. Jio, I'm proud to say, has taken the lead in this. Jio has ensured affordable, high-speed data connectivity, which is a prerequisite to digital revolution. Today, our entire country is fully transitioning from the 2G era to the 4G era. We are in the process of creating an equally affordable ecosystem of devices to enable greater adoption, supported by faster rollout of optic fiber, cloud, and data center infrastructure. The next step will be connectivity of machines, devices, and vehicles, which is the Internet of Things. This will involve many components like different kinds of sensors, smart devices, edge computing, cloud computing, and AI. And with the 5G rollout next year in India, this is now, as India, we are well on our way to have one of the most advanced digital infrastructures in any economy in the world. As these underlying technologies mature, we will be able to reinvent all sectors of our economy digitally, whether it is financial services, commerce, manufacturing, agriculture, education, or healthcare. Most importantly, in addition to fintech, the grassroots sectors such as agriculture, education, and healthcare will transform into more efficient, more affordable, more accessible to all Indians thanks to these digital technologies. So with this, India will make great strides in fintech, edtech, health tech, and industry 4.0. Digital technology, I believe, is a great leveler, a great democratizer. It is the greatest gift to humanity. And as the name of this forum suggests, Anjali, its future possibilities are truly infinite.
I actually feel these days that as an avid science fiction reader, that the future is now already here. Everything we read. And I started sort of programming on the PDP-11s as you were talking about your days as a chemical engineer. So from then to now, the ubiquitous digitization, the creation of high quality public and private digital infrastructures, this boundaryless world that we are going into, which is digital and not physical in nature, it creates also a sense of a balanced requirement. So while on the one hand it is boundaryless, at the same time, both data and digital infrastructure actually have strategic national importance, which the nation states or all countries would want to protect, and for the right reasons. So how do we balance this protection of national interest, at the same time reap the benefits of this absolutely sort of wonderfully globally connected young population with their ideas, and take advantage of the global transfer and collaboration of ideas and solutions?
So Anjali, both data and digital infrastructure are strategically important, not only for India, but for every nation and the entire world, because all 7 billion of us are in it together, as we have seen in all the multiple phases of COVID that we've gone through over the last 2 years. So coming to data, right, I think that every country has the right to build and protect its own strategic identity global. It has made the entire world more interconnected and interdependent than ever before. And I believe that collectively as a human race, right, we can progress much more by being interconnected and interdependent. We can progress much more by being interconnected and interdependent. Therefore, I believe that we need uniform global standards so that cross-border transactions, collaborations, and partnerships are not hampered. We need ultimately, and I hope India can lead the way to a uniform UPI or a uniform payments interface. India's Aadhaar can lead the way to a uniform Aadhaar for all the 7 billion people, so that every person on this earth is uniquely identified and India leads the way. And that's the opportunity. The third thing that I think is very important is every citizen's right to his privacy, which has to be safeguarded. Therefore, we have to work to have the right policies, the right regulatory framework to balance the imperatives of creating next generation infrastructure, of harmonizing it and integrating it with the world, and regulating it in a way that we don't stifle innovation, but protect the end user and all the citizens of the country and the citizens of the world. And again, I have to say that India is putting all the most forward-looking policies and regulations in place. As you said yourself, right? We have Aadhaar, we have Jan Dhan accounts, and we have our UPI interface, right? We are on the verge of introducing a data privacy bill, which I look forward to, and also the cryptocurrency bill, which will come here. So I think that we are on the right track, and what impresses me the most is that as a society, we are proactive, we are open, and we are vibrant. And as a democracy, we can really be at par with the most developed economies in terms of our thinking and in terms of benefit to all our citizens. And India, I believe, is now well on its way to transform itself into a leading digital society, right? Having put digital infrastructure in place, having put the regulatory framework in place, armed with these two enablers, India's young and super talented entrepreneurs are now ready to fly, right? And I believe that we can achieve much, much faster economic growth, progress, and prosperity for all our people and contribute to the rest of the world.
Indeed. And from why not India Stack going to global stack? I think India Stack has been so transformational for this country. I think there is need for a global stack, and perhaps India can also lead the way. Thinking about this, I think digital and sustainability absolutely go hand in hand, Mr. Ambani, as you pointed out. To build a more sustainable, more inclusive world, digitization and the use of technology is absolutely key. And we have seen in some ways that despite the difficult times through COVID, the acceleration of digitization and really the convergence, the coming together, whether it is finance, retail, logistics, e-commerce is just, I think, a tip of the iceberg here. But even core sectors like infrastructure, like agriculture, where the world is so dependent on these sectors, and yet they're large emitters and users of resources. The fintech industry, of course, has grown leaps and bounds. And I'm conscious that the Infinity Forum is focusing on fintechs. So I'm going to ask you this last question. We talked about crypto, we talked about Web 3.0 and the metaverse and this boundaryless global world. What do you think will be the next convergence? What will propel the growth of fintech? And I actually want to say human tech.
Absolutely, Anjali. I think that the opportunity in terms of conversion, right, is, in my view, finance really is at the heart of everything. And we have not digitized finance into its full potential. I believe we are at very early stages of sporadic digitization. And the opportunity, as I see all these technologies emerging, is the opportunity to make sure that we actually adopt a decentralized model of finance, right? We have evolved over the last 100 years in organized finance through a very centralized model. And I still believe that there will be centralized government and central bank policies, but there will be a path to a very decentralized technological solutions where finance will be enabled and available to everybody, right? It will not be, today we have a world where it's still a world where people like, large companies get easier finance, small companies don't get easier finance, same thing with people. And I think that will change. I also think that what will happen is that convergence, so there, as I see, real-time technologies are there. And there is no reason, it's great that we have moved from T+7 to T+2 and T+1, but I am a big believer in real time. So everything will settle in real time. Smart contracts will become real. Blockchain is a technology I believe in, and it's different from crypto in terms of, and I think that smart tokens, making sure that you are creating transactions that can never be changed, right, is a very important framework for a just and trust-based transactions and trust-based society, which is a prerequisite for all of us. So I think that the convergence of real time, the convergence of the distributed ledger and blockchain technology, smart tokens, right, the convergence of physical and digital through IoT will enable and will redefine the decentralized financial sector in a way that we have never imagined. And I think this is happening in the coming 10 years. And again, this will be a prerequisite to great economic growth, because this is how, and we've just seen it now in terms of saying that how we could never imagine that India would have startups, right, that would be funded. And even just 5 years ago, Anjali, if you had asked, would say like today there is more money chasing people, and we are short of ideas. And I'm sure that all our young people will come up with more and more ideas, because there are still many problems to be solved in the world. So, and I think that it is time for GIFT City, the infrastructure and the vision with which GIFT City was created, not only to enable technology and innovation, right, in India, but also to be a gateway to the rest of the world in terms of trying to take innovation in India and export it to the rest of the world. And I'm sure that our young people will do that. I'm always inspired by what I learn when I interact with our 30-year-old at Reliance. And Reliance is just a proxy of what is happening in India. And I really see a bright future ahead. So Anjali, through the medium of Bloomberg, the Infinity Forum, I would like to convey my very best wishes to every aspiring young Indian entrepreneur, innovator, digital change agent, to really bring India to its full potential, and wish you and all the viewers a very happy, safe, and prosperous 2022. Thank you so much, Anjali, for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir. Mr. Ambani has given us some very inspiring words, very inspiring, energized vision of a boundaryless.
रिलायंस इंडस्ट्रीज लिमिटेड के मालिक मुकेश अंबानी को आप सुन रहे थे, जो कि इन्फिनिटी फोरम पर अपनी बात रखते हुए बताते हुए कि किस तरीके से देश बदल रहा है। डिजिटलाइजेशन का जो दौर चल रहा है, उससे आर्थिक तौर पर देश को मजबूती मिल रही है। आज से इस फोरम की शुरुआत हुई है। 2 दिवसीय ये फोरम है, जिसकी औपचारिक तौर पर शुरुआत प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी ने वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंसिंग के जरिए की। और इस बात का भी जिक्र मुकेश अंबानी करते हुए नजर आए कि देखिए, समय से पहले प्रधानमंत्री सोचते हैं और ये सोच देश के लिए काफी फायदेमंद है। और वहीं केंद्र